I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video we're going to have another look at one of my favorite crypto games, Cryowar. So Cryowar has been releasing a lot of new updates. It is literally my number one favorite investment that I've made into a gaming product, and in this video I'll explain you why and the big upcoming opportunities for Cryowar. So one of the major updates that they have done so far is they have deployed an Unreal Engine, which obviously for their gameplay makes it extremely attractive. They have released in-game footage, and you can actually see that the open beta is being played, which basically means that this is one of the few games that is actually very much aligned with their roadmap in terms of development. While the market is bearish, as we are right now, a lot of people just solely focus on the token price. With Bitcoin going down, it's inevitable that these tokens will also go down, right? As Cryowar did as well. It's been relatively stable for the last 2-3 months. However, what is most important is that most games have either shown no updates on their development, which is important to bridge the barrier you need to build, or they are major games like Sandbox, Illuvium that have continuously posted updates. Therefore, I'm extremely bullish on Cryowar making big announcements, and in addition to that, keeping their community on Discord extremely engaged. So obviously the price has gone down tremendously, so it has gone down more than 100x, right, from 460, so let's say about $3 average, all the way down to 3 cents. The fully diluted market cap is still quite high. The non-confirmed market cap by CoinMarketCap is 4 million. Relative to the volume is a little bit low. Gate.io pushing the most volume, and it's also on KuCoin. So they have two strong exchanges there. And therefore, I think that when the market attracts and becomes more bullish, this will be one of my best investments that I've been making for the last year. So I've done multiple DCA entries into Cryowar, and I hold quite a significant amount of tokens at the moment. So first of all, let's look at the footage that they have released. So this is basically the character screen, right? It is a mobile game. This is the closed beta v0.4. I did get sent a beta key to play, which obviously as a bigger investor, it's quite nice. So basically it obviously has to be mobile playable, and therefore they use like the move cursor for you to move around. And it's ultimately what it comes down to. One of my favorite things about Cryowar is that it's an extremely simple game. You know, whether you're just laying on the couch or whether you are in transit, maybe in a train or in a bus, you can play this game, which makes it very much adaptable for mass adoption, which I think is a huge thing. I'm not a person to play this game myself, obviously, I'm an investor. But when I compare it to all of the other crypto games that have been deployed so far, either they're way out of development, right, 2-3 years, and I truly believe that during those 2 to 3 years of development, so many things will change in the industry, right? So Cryowar, obviously being a relatively simple game, I would say. This is just the first stage, of course. It's a closed beta. But the most important thing is that it is playable, it looks good, it makes sense as a game, and it's not overly complex, you know? To build an MMORPG game, it costs, you know, $60-100 million. It's going to take 2 to 5 years of development, and the beta is not until like the first 3 years, you know. So to have them basically deploy a token in the bull market was obviously good for them raising money, but quite quickly after, we're just like 6 months later, we're already having a playable beta. This is not a demo, right? This is like a beta version of what's supposed to be. So if you know, it's alpha, then beta, and then launch, right? So when you look at how smooth this is, an actual gameplay and how it works, then you definitely understand that this game has tremendous potential, right? What I precisely like is that it's not overly complex on the graphics when you look at it like this, but the menus are really smooth, really clean, right? Obviously, for a mobile phone to be able to play this game, the actual gameplay with all the moving laser beams and stuff, it cannot be overly complex. The main thing, however, is once you notice the character collection, which they showed before, you can definitely see that one of the major parts there is the aestheticness of the menu, right, of the outlook. I do imagine that they have to use different arenas and a little bit more gameplay. So this is one option, but this would become quite repetitive, right? You can basically understand how this would work, and then you can easily do this over and over again. And I think once you've played 10 of these games, you would be quite bored if it's the same arena over and over again. So I would assume they would have some more utility there in terms of, you know, the arena, the strategies, the different beasts walking around, the adjustments you need to make, the attacks that you can use. But ultimately, that is for a later part. So a lot of people are quite happy with this, and I was as well. So things to consider is I have staked my Cryowar tokens. So I have about 10,000 tokens staked. And so far, I can already unlock it, but I'm going to keep it staked because the APY is 24% for the 90-day pool, which I'm staked in. Oh, it's a 120-day pool, but it already expired. So I can claim my rewards, 1,377 Cryowar tokens. And if you go to the staking, there's also a pool that is locked for 1 year, and the APY is 45%. That's significantly different, so I didn't choose to do this because, you know, normally I do 90 days, but that's not an option. So I chose 120 days. Still staked, still gaining free tokens. It might not be worth a lot right now, but of course, this is one of these games where I believe it could potentially make a huge comeback. Obviously, because it has been going down so much, you know, I bought Cryowar. I think I bought some at $1. I bought some at 30 cents, you know, the biggest chunk. And still it's gone down, you know, 10x from that point. It is very important for my strategy that if I dollar cost average in again, it pulls back the average investment price, right? Obviously, take into consideration, you might overexpose yourself in that case. You know, having 10,000 tokens, gaining some on staking, I think it's enough. In terms of the position that I want to have in Cryowar, but I am not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, following the price, see what happens, right? I'm not going to make any quick flips on this. This is definitely a long-term hold, but I'm really enjoying what the team is doing. The July 19th, they also posted, milestone achieved, Cryowar game is now officially running on Unreal Engine 5. The open beta is approaching and looking harder than ever. New arenas, new heroes and skills, new game modules, and a new UI. This is the UI that we noticed on the video, right? You can see it's the same version. And it's open to public. It will be accessible to a lot more people than the closed beta, so stay tuned. And then they link the Discord. On the Discord, I feel like they have been quite engaging. So what they do is they post a lot of gameplay leaks and updates, and also they're teaching some lore, right? On Twitter, but specifically also on Discord. So here you have some designs, some of the arenas that are being designed, what it looks like, the assets that are used for the arenas. Here's like a map, you know, and that's not only important, I think, right now, but if the marketing team understands that and keeps that going, I think there's a very, very bright future for this game, you know. Once we go to Discord and we would go to Cryowar, which I have right here, you can see I've been looking at the leaks. And there's definitely a lot of good information there. You don't have to check it every day, like I said. Once a week for these type of projects is just fine. And there's quite an active community, you know, 187K. They're not all as active, of course, but there is at least some good updates and some good interaction. Also good questions in this Discord. So you can see it's a little bit less of a Moonboy audience. It's a little bit more of a mature audience, and actually quite a lot of people on the actual beta, which is also a good signal. Once we look at obviously the token sale and the pricing, we have to take into consideration the vesting. So believe it or not, Cryowar is still up from its IDO price at 2.8 cents, right? It just had a tremendous pump. So it basically did 170x from all public sales From the seed round, it did about a 340x. So the seed investors are still up 2.5x. The private sales are up almost 2x. And then the public sales are up about 26% at the moment. Which, I mean, of course, is tremendous, right? 0% will be unlocked token generation event, then remaining 80% will be on a monthly linear basis for 6 months. So that's November, so that has already been fully deployed. 20% TGE, 6 months, so that has already been fully deployed. So we're waiting, I assume, on private and seed, because seed is, I know for sure, 90% for 20 months, yes. So the private is still being vested and the seed is also still being vested, 90% for 24 months. So that will be quite some time. Of course, with backers like, of course, Animoca Brands, you know, KuCoin Labs, it's definitely looking strong for the long term. And partners like Illuvium, on which they have advisory. They recently signed, Eartha, have a building there, network. They really connect very well with other aligned opportunities in which they can get more exposure. You know, Sidus is there, Cypher, Metastrike. These are all games in which you might not find immediate opportunity, but on the long term, it is definitely quite interesting. So overall, like I said before, Cryowar definitely one of my favorite investments, not only in terms of returns, because there have been none, right? But what I do think is important is that overall, I am extremely bullish on how the game is developing compared to other games, right? Which I think is extremely important. I believe that ultimately for these games to do well in the long term, they need to develop a game, do a beta, do an alpha, do a beta, and then deploy, right? In which I see too little traction on other games, right? Specifically during the bear market. If we look at other games like Decimated or Solana games, Star Atlas, in Monkey League, there's barely anything happening, and if it is happening, it looks quite disappointing. You know, Decimated looks nice, but now they're doing like all kinds of other features as well. I like that Cryowar keeps it simple and focuses on the foundation. So my price prediction for the future of Cryowar, a tremendous opportunity, right? I think if we come from a market cap which was, 400 million in the bull, which is obviously quite crazy, as you can see, like that huge pump. So here it had a daily tradable volume of about $37 million. That was obviously at the peak of the crypto gaming bull run. I think for Cryowar, that it should be possible to maybe not go back to 4.5. I think that's a little bit overvalued, obviously. But I think $1, $2 on the next bull run should definitely be possible. And you're looking at extremely 50x, 60x returns from this point onwards. So as always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have any questions about Cryowar or you're interested in the beta, feel free to ask in the comments down below and I'll see what I can do. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.